Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to do a 33-month update on the Red Sea Reefer 250. I got some new fish and new frags to show you, and also I'm going to share with you my ICP testing results to troubleshoot why some of my Montiporas have been dying. Hello and welcome back everyone. Welcome to Amro Azul TV. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what has happened to my tank over the past month. We'll start with fish. So I've been quarantining two new wrasses, a Carpenter Flasher Wrasse and a Pintail Wrasse. Both of them were quarantined in copper and therapeutic copper for 14 days, during which I gave two rounds of API General Cure about a week apart. So the copper deals with ick and velvet, and the general cure is for external parasites and internal parasites as well. When the quarantine was over, I added both fish to the display using an acclimation box. And I think acclimation boxes are a great way to introduce new fish, not just wrasses. It gives the tank inhabitants a chance to kind of look at the new fish, and you could possibly catch any obvious aggression and deal with it before the fish are released to the system. So when I added these two beautiful fish to the tank, I actually didn't see any signs of aggression. I was concerned about how my two new wrasses are going to interact with my two resident wrasses, but there was no aggression whatsoever between the wrasses. But as soon as I released them, they spent about a day in the acclimation box, but as soon as I released the wrasses, I found that my blue-green chromis was actually being a total jerk to the wrasses. He was harassing them. So I added this collapsible trap, which I found really handy, and literally within like 30 minutes I was able to catch the the blue-green chromis, and I moved him to my Evo tank downstairs. So right now I have four wrasses, the two that I just added, as well as yellowtail tamarin wrasse and Moyer leopard wrasse, and they've been getting along really well. And I've also added two neon gobies. They were actually quarantined by a colleague and a friend who's pretty close by to me. So he quarantined these neon gobies for me for about a month, and he did the tank transfer. They're really cute. They were super shy for the first 2 weeks, hiding all the time, but now they're out. They eat frozen. They even try to pick at pellets. So you'll see here. And yeah, I like that they just add a new color to the system. Also, they're kind of fun. They're really fun to watch. They do goofy things. They hide around and they dart out to chase food, and they climb things. They're really fun to watch. So the neon gobies are called Alpha and Omega, and Pintail Wrasse is called Rainbow. Sometimes we call him Rainbow Trout. And Carpenter Wrasse is called Ruby. And you could kind of see all the wrasses in the corner here. They're fun to watch, and the Flasher Wrasse and the Fairy Wrasse swim in a different place in the tank. They're swimming like the top part of the column, so they just add like a splash of color and also like some interesting movements. I still have my two clownfish, my tank, and a royal grandma. So that's the fish list right now. All right, I also picked up a few frags, which I'm gonna show you as we go through a top-down tour of my SPS. So tenuous, looking great. Birds of Paradise, looking really great from the top, but it's as the colony is getting bigger, it's actually shading the bottom, so the bottom is starting to die. So I have to do something about that. My blueberry wine is just a monster. It's going to be the biggest colony in the tank, and it's got these crazy electric blue tips and white flesh, white base. So I've actually been, this colony looks huge, and I keep cutting frags. As a matter of fact, I cut I think 7 frags out of this colony, and it looks humongous. The Aura bird red planet is expanding. It's branching up. It's a little bit slow, but I could definitely see growth. The pink lemonade is starting to encrust and color up a little bit, so that's good. Yeah, you get to see some of the kind of the limeade. It's right now it's a limeade, the pink limeade, green fluorescent green base. The pink Cadillac is, I think it's looking really great. The older, the bigger this coral gets, the prettier it's getting. You see these like blue polyps, the pink and the green base. So I'm really digging how this colony is developing. I spent a long time thinking that this was a bad investment, and I probably still is a bad investment and not a great investment. But the colony is looking really great. The bonsai, again, fantastic colors, and I keep cutting it and fragging it. The Pac-Man, again, it's a monstrous colony. I keep having to cut frags of it. I think I cut maybe like 7 or 8 frags of it last month. There's another angle at the pink Cadillac. The tips are just amazing. Yeah, you could really see the blue polyps on the pink Cadillac here. And then here's one of the new frags that I got. This is Reef raft, Marvin the Martian. It's got these crazy long polyps. It looks like a Montipora, but I think it's a tenuous. It's got white flesh, which you don't really see because it's just all you see is the polyps. And when you have movement in the water, the polyps just look amazing. The red planet is looking good. Here's another really cool frag that I just picked up. It was labeled as aculeus, and it's got this really interesting green that I don't have. The orange or red planet, sorry, the Reef raft orange passion is looking good, and I'm trying to do some micro fragging to make the colony a little bit bigger. You see that little new patch on the left here, on the right. The Shockaholic is looking really good, and it's starting to get some of the fluorescent green back. On the bottom here is Major Laser, and again, I really like the colors on it. Like the green, it's like a turquoise green, which is pretty cool. Here's another new frag. This is a Jason Fox TNT Anacropora, which I thought was kind of interesting. And beside it is the Jason Fox Fox Flame, which is still looking pretty pale. It's growing really well, but it hasn't gotten the deep reds yet. And then the Ice Fire is still alive, which is great. Yay! I hope it gets bigger. It's encrusting and it's growing a little bit. And then finally, the last new frag is this Reef raft Rainbow Loom, which is green with purple tips. It hasn't developed the purple tips yet, but it's looking pretty good. The green Slimer is looking really good, and my electric Mahajji Tort is starting to kind of look a little bit more electric. It's still nowhere near the colors that it had about a year and a half ago, but I think it's getting there. So I keep hoping that one day I'm going to wake up and see the same colors that I saw a while back, but hopefully it will happen. And this is a look across the tank off the top, and you see that we're starting to get some full canopy up top. All right, so a few 2 months ago, I did this major aquascape. I think it was about a month ago, where I removed a big chunk of my rock, about a third of the live rock that was in the tank, and I replaced it with a Carib Sea rock, which is dry rock, and I didn't cure it or anything. I just simply dumped it in there, and that coincided with a major die-off in most of my encrusting Aacropora. Most of my encrusting Montipora. So my rainbow Monty got hit really badly. It actually looks a lot worse than what you're seeing here now. My pink Mystic, most of it is dead. My Superman got hit. So I was a little bit concerned, and I took a water sample, and a few things came up. So aluminum came up as high at 39 micrograms per liter. Surprisingly, copper was detected, which is weird, 3.76 micrograms per liter. What else? Most of the chemicals were fine. Magnesium, I already knew was a little bit high because of a testing accident. My testing kit was bad, and I kept dosing magnesium without realizing that I kind of overdosed. But I don't think there's anything wrong with having these high levels of magnesium. Lithium came up as really, really high. It's triple the recommended amount at 670 micrograms per liter. And what else was high? I think that was it. I think iodine was a little bit low, but I think those were the four major things that came up as unusually high. I'm just scrolling through here. Barium was good. Silicone was a little bit high, but not a big deal. Obviously, my phosphates and phosphorus were high, but that's intentional. I keep like a dirty tank. And so I don't know what to make of this. If you look at the recommendations, so they mentioned that I have copper in the system. This could be because of trace elements, but I'm not dosing. Biopellets, I don't have it. Possibly contaminated food. It could just also be testing error. My magnesium, again, I know the source of that overdose. It was a bad test kit that I was basing my dosing on. Bromium, possibly contaminated salts, trace elements, salt mixes. I'm not dosing any trace elements. Lithium here, where we start to kind of get some indication that maybe it was the Carib Sea rock. They suggest that artificial rock or reef ceramic could be the cause of this. So it may be is as a consequence of me adding the Carib Sea rock without rinsing it or curing it. And again, the vanadium levels were high, and that could also, according to the Triton data, could also be because of ceramic and potentially rock. So I don't want to do anything drastic. What I think I'm going to do is just do a series of water changes over time and do another ICP test maybe a month and see whether the water changes are removing some of this contamination. I don't want to do anything too crazy because the tank, as you see, for the most part is doing well, and I'm not too concerned about the Montiporas die. If they die, they die. It's not a big deal. They grow super fast, and I could easily replace them. So that's it, guys. That's most of the updates. Now, many of you have noticed videos about the DOS and me implementing a water change system. I was going to do it for this month, but I just haven't had any time. And I'm going to try to do it for the next month's update, so stay tuned. And then very quickly, a couple of fun things that have happened over the past month is I attended my first coral show. It was the Greater Niagara Coral Show, and it was a 2-day event. That's where I picked up most of my frags. I had a lot of fun. I also got to meet some famous YouTubers, including Reef Dudes, Devin from Reef Dudes. I also got to meet Cindy from Reef Girl and Ash from Ash's Reef. And in a little bit, you'll see a picture of Ash and Devin from Reef Dudes. Both gave really good talks during the Coral Show. And I also got to meet Rico from Rico's Reef, which was pretty fun. So all in all, it was a fantastic event. If you're in Canada or you live near the Niagara area, I highly recommend attending next year's Greater Niagara Reef Show. There was fantastic frags, amazing deals, and a lot of fun. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I will see you during next month's update, and we'll have the automatic water change system all ready and working. Finally, if you have any experience with alkalinity monitors, please let me know your thoughts about what's the best system out there, because I'm seriously considering picking one up for my reefer. Okay guys, see you next month, and please like, comment, and subscribe.